Bueno, las buenas noticias.
Okay, the good news is that our jury is here. They're all here, taking their seats. Still alive. Taking their seats, I think. Guess they're coming from really far away because they're not all here yet.
Bueno, las buenas noticias es que ya está.
Okay, so the jury is almost ready, and so we should be able to get started any minute.
¿Viene alguien más del jurado? Ver que el catering del comienzo era muy bueno.
I think maybe they got tempted by the nibbles outside and got stuck.
Claro. Se han parado con lo del jamón. No podemos empezar y que en medio... No. Pero... No, ya les esperamos. Estabas con ellos, ¿no? Están. Han entretenido. He regañado a todo el público. Que íbamos a empezar en punto. Nunca os fiéis de una mujer vestida.
I guess I told you we were going to start punctually, but I lied. Never trust the woman in red.
Llama a alguien, sí. Sí, claro que sí. Bueno, tengo el micro. Voy a aprovechar este momento que llega el jurado para... I'm going to say hello to our non-Spanish Spanish speakers. Where are you? Cristina, we have some non-Spanish speakers, so some of the presentations will be in English, pero como aquí todos somos super internationals, hablamos inglés perfectamente, además que no se entere el IE, que aquí no... University. I want to say hello to our non-English speakers from Bulgaria, from Brazil, Brazil. Han traído hasta la bandera, qué grandes los brasileños, ¿eh? ¡Qué grandes!
And the Brazilians have even brought their flag. Amazing. Well done. I'm sure we'll all end up dancing samba and what have you here.
Well, wish you all luck. There's only, there's 6 winners actually. It's 9 winners. We have 9 winners. You're all here. El jurado, tranquilamente, que...
And the jury, well, take your time. There's no rush.
Nada. Se ha enterado todo el mundo, Jesús. Es Jesús Monclús, para el que no le conozca. Es la primera vez que tenemos a la secretaria de Estado antes que al jurado.
It's actually the first time I think the Secretary of State gets here before the panel. Okay, it's been almost 10 minutes. I hope they're going to make it, because otherwise I'm going to tell a joke, and I'm really bad at telling jokes. Should we start? Let's start. Ignacio Baeza has said we should get started. And the Secretary of State wants to get started too, of course. So let's start.
Os voy a pedir que visualicéis.
Now, let me just ask you to remember or to think of that picture of our Earth when seen from space. You probably know which one I mean. That picture where you can see a blue planet with some white clouds, generally clouds over the American continent, and obviously the pictures are NASA pictures, so they would have the clouds over the American. It's the blue marble. That's the one you've got on the iPhone ever since 2007. It's the millennials would know this, and it's about half of the auditorium that are millenniums. So isn't our planet beautiful? Isn't our planet beautiful? Yes, but what if we try and look closer up? What do you see? Millions and millions of people live in poverty. About half of the people live in inequality because they're women. The inequalities between the rich and the poor are getting larger. The air pollution and water pollution is growing. We're losing diversity, and we have a pace of life which goes beyond the actual scale of our planet. And our planet is no longer that beautiful. But don't worry, because today I have some good news for you. Because we're going to be solving some of these old and new problems of our planet, or at least we're going to try and solve them. Last year, the MAPFRE Foundation realized that there was an area within their activities that something was missing and that they felt they wanted to support, and that is social innovation. And that is why the first Fundación MAPFRE Award for Social Innovation took place. And IE is one of the academic partners. And a few months later, here we are to give 3 awards to 3 of their finalists. So isn't that great? Good afternoon. So let me introduce myself. My name is Elena Diaz Fuentes. Helen 10 Fountains would be the translation. 10 is 10. Anyway, it's a pleasure to be here with you. I think we have 9 finalists ready here, and before doing that, can I give the floor to Mr. Antonio Huertas, the president of the MAPFRE Foundation.
Un placer. Que además le he pedido permiso.
Anyway, he was Don Antonio a minute ago, but now he's Antonio, simply Antonio Huertas. Well, thank you so much. My colleagues of Fundación MAPFRE have made me, well, they didn't really do me a favor by making me talk after Elena, because I don't think I can speak as well as she does. But anyway, thank you for being here with me this afternoon to talk about a very interesting and excellent project. Some months ago, our colleagues in Fundación MAPFRE felt that we needed to do so much more in the development and in the research and the in-depth development of the initiatives taken by Fundación MAPFRE for over 45 years. The world has changed, and the world is going crazy, as Elena was saying. We're coming, if we come closer and closer to Earth, we can see that this lovely picture is a sequence of serious problems which are impossible to solve, which we need to start dealing with today. But the reality is that we find ourselves with 2 very different situations. The young people in this country and the less young wanted to be civil servants, sportsmen, bankers, cooks, chefs, and suddenly the younger and the less young of Spain, of Israel, of Brazil, of Germany, of the United States, well, they want to create. They are creators, they are creative, and they can actually bring much more added value to society, much more than what the older generations have done. That is, those of us who come from other occupations or preoccupations. So that is the first thing I'd like to say. And then the second thing where the Fundación Mapfre realized that we could actually help is something that, well, was inbuilt, really. That is something that we've very much had with us ever since 1975, when Mapfre Foundation was created. It's commitment, a commitment to find solutions so that all of us can improve our quality of life, for having less accidents, more education, more prevention, possibly more and better living together, and trying to solve many of those problems which Elena mentioned when talking about Earth. So introduce innovation by young people and less young people is really leading to these first awards for social innovation. It's not any kind of innovation that we want. Of course, in the minds of these creators, they want to develop a business activity, something that will give a sense to their lives and continuity, and when it grows, they can work with others. But even though that is important, private initiative and the creation is something which may help us solve some of these problems. So it all sort of fitted in well. It was the perfect puzzle to develop a commitment which Fundación Mapfre has wanted to shoulder. It's taken us over a year with the help of the Instituto de Empresa and with their involvement and extraordinary interest with people all over the world. We set up 3 seats: Brazil, Mexico, and Madrid. We developed regional phases. We had over 400 startups that started in our project. We thought that initially 200 would be successful, but 400, almost 500 startups were involved. The local juries in Brazil, and then North America, Mexico, and then Spain, covering the whole of Spain. So it was covering the whole of Europe. So it was really difficult. And to come to the 9 finalists, one of them have been selected, one in each category. One of the categories is to try and find solutions directed towards health, digital health. The second one is to promote a development of insurance in different areas to convince citizens that this type of protection is necessary. And the third one is road safety. Fundación Mapfre has been working in this area with traditional and less traditional initiatives over many years. So with many projects with huge potential, which will make it possible for us to find solutions that are truly positive and that help us try and change some of these problems. It's been a year of hard work. And we've also been able to find a lot of solutions which unfortunately have had to be left behind. But I'm sure that many of these projects will perhaps be successful and be acknowledged in this area or any other area. So I think we need to thank the 9 finalists, and we need to congratulate them, because I believe that all of their proposals are interesting proposals, and I believe that both Fundación Mapfre and Instituto de Empresa are very satisfied with this initiative. Well, it would be a great shame to think that this will end here today. It's not going to end, not for them, not for any of the finalists, and the 24 who competed in the final phase. They've received some very useful, very full and exhaustive coaching and mentoring from Instituto de Empresa, so I'm sure they will be able to develop their businesses. For us, it has been a huge learning process, and we have been able to learn that it would be a great shame not to take advantage of this experience for the future. So, of course, next week, if possible, we will start with the second awards, the Social Innovation Awards of Fundación Mapfre, because I think we have found an area which had not really been covered anywhere else in the world, and I think it will be very good for all. So congratulations to all of you, and good afternoon.
La manzana.
So the apple is the symbol of the Mapfre Foundation Awards for Social Innovation, in case you hadn't noticed. And you will wonder why? Why an apple? Well, for several reasons. Fruit has been long connected with knowledge. You all know, of course, the story of Newton's apple, the mathematician and physicist from Britain, 17th century. The tree, a ripe apple, Newton sitting under the apple tree, resting in the afternoon, and all of a sudden, poof, the theory of universal gravitation, as was to be expected. So from the Mapfre Foundation, we wish to honor with these awards one of the most important people in the history of science. Because only those who have, like him, great questions, great concerns, and great dreams may have great ideas. And it's great ideas that change the world. And that is why in these awards, we wish to support and publicize and promote initiatives that will help improve particular aspects of the world we live in. And in this first edition, although, as you've heard from Antonio Huertas already, who's, of course, taken over all my lines, but in spite of that, he did forget to mention a couple of things, which I'm going to share with you, since you're a captive audience. In this first edition, as Antonio said, focused on 3 strategic regions: Brazil, the rest of Latin America, and Europe. 3 themes: health and digital technology, or e-health, innovation in insurance, InsurTech, and mobility and road safety. All the projects that have applied, 462, Antonio, That's almost 500. A dream of all 462 met the requirements. There were many others which didn't. And then 27 semi-finalists were selected amongst them all, 9 from each of these areas, and then 9 finalists, 3 for each theme, from the 3 semi-finals held in Sao Paulo, Mexico City, and Madrid. Because it seems like MAPFRE Foundation loves things in threes. So this is the first edition, and we're going to have 300 at least. Okay, so the assessment criteria in all the semi-finals, jury of experts from the MAPFRE Foundation and from the IE Business School, IE University, have selected all those projects that have the highest potential in terms of social impact and more feasible from the technical and business perspective. They've also assessed the experience of the applicants for the implementation of the idea and their ability to demonstrate with pilots or prototypes that the project might actually be feasible. And this is actually very important. In case you weren't listening, listen up. Because this is an award which doesn't just reward good intentions and make people look good because of their brilliant ideas. It really awards the ability of the participants, that is you, to truly apply these ideas in practice and have a real tangible impact on the lives of people. Okay, so the 9 finalists here today, 3 will receive a cash award of 30,000 euros each. And that will be thanks to our jurors who are here, who were very late, very, very late. I thought that you were never going to turn up. But anyway, they've been doing some really hard work, but excellent work. So let me introduce them. Don't give them a round of applause. They haven't earned it yet. At the end, when we know the winners, you can give them a round of applause. Guillermo Baeza, who's the first vice president of the MAPFRE Foundation, Rachida Justo, who's the academic entrepreneurship director at the IE Business School, José Antonio Arias. There's 5 other members. José Antonio Arias, Chief Innovation Officer at MAPFRE and Group Chief Operations Officer at MAPFRE. He's got 2 jobs and maybe many others, but these are the most important today. Fabiana Feld, Chief Investment Officer for International Finance Corporation, IFC. Antonio González, Chairman of the Intercom Group. Fernando Hernández, Venture Partner at eVentures and member of the board of MAPFRE US. I didn't know this, Bernardo. Lovely to see you. You're everywhere. And Esther Rodriguez, Operations Specialist representing the Inter-American Development Bank here in Madrid. And now let's give them all a big round of applause. Okay, so the good news is that the boring part is now over, and I don't mean Antonio Huerta's speech, but mine. And he actually did a great job. He came up here and got all kinds of interest from photographers, and here I was all dressed up in red and everything, and he got a lot more pictures than I did. Of course, he is much more important than I am. And he did my job really well. I probably couldn't do his. But anyway, the boring part, which was mine, is over. And now comes the exciting, important part, which is the time to hear our 9 finalists with their pitch. They each have 3 minutes, which will be ticking on that screen. No mercy, I'm told. So after 3 minutes, you're probably pushed off the stage, or the microphone will switch off or something. But anyway, it's 3 minutes. And there are 3 who will be presenting in English, and I'll introduce them in English. Although, of course, there's translation available for them, but still.
Let's start with the eHealth finalist. Are you ready? Do you want to know? Are you ready? You must be ready. Well, that's what we're going to do, because these are my instructions. So there you go. Hold your socks. Vamos a empezar. Let me ask you a question. How many of you here have children or live or work with children around you? Raise your hands. Everybody, everybody, everybody. So you know, well, that children are super smart, right? Maybe we, as we grow old, we start to forget how smart children are, and we start trying to fool them. We talk to them like if they were silly or stupid, especially if we have to talk about something difficult or scary. For example, cancer is a very strong word. Even we, grown-ups, are terrified of the word and have a hard time understanding it. Talking about it to children, can you imagine? How to explain to them something that so many of us, we don't even understand? Well, our first finally this evening decided to be part of something to change that. She decided to understand cancer, to understand it well and how it works, because she works with it every day. She's the founder of a non-profit organization whose mission is to demystify cancer, providing information about the disease and treatment in a clear, objective, and optimistic way for children, adolescents, and for their caregivers. And she has come all the way from Brazil with the flag y todo to tell us everything about it. So please, let's welcome the lovely Simone Mozzilli and her project Beabá. Welcome, Simone. Woo! That flag. The flag! Because she's the first one to start to break the ice, I have to go like this.
Oh my God,
Go like
it's
this.
counting? No. You say everything. Thank you, guys.
That's it, okay? She's breaking the ice, please be gentle.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Muy-
Oh, it's counting my time.
Ah, no.
Hello, everybody. Buenas tardes. Gracias, IE, Fundación
Podemos-
Mafre.
Don't
Muchas
worry.
gracias.
She's breaking the
Okay.
ice. You ready?
Yes.
Muita confusão?
Muita. Nossa, vamos falar em português. que vai ser
Não,
incrível.
um bocadinho. Ah lá,
Incrível.
there she goes.
Buenas tardes. My name is Simone. I'm graduating communication, and I work with that for 10 years. And at the same time, I have done voluntary work with children with cancer. I think this picture, I don't know, but I started in 2007 in English, my God. You know, 2007. And the difficult part is to explain to children about the disease and the treatment, even with my own knowledge in communication. Then in 2011, one of the children said to me, they know that I had an ovarian cyst, and asked, we open our heads, remove organs and a lot of things, and why don't you remove your cyst? And I went to the operation room in the same hospital. I took courage and I put in my belly, cuidem de mim, take care of me, because the surgeon knew that I was a nice person. And I went to surgery, 2-hour surgery, but I woke up 10 hours later in the same ICU, UTI, that I used to be with the children with cancer. And I asked to the nurse, I was with cancer, metastasis, lymph nodes compromised, and 5 organs removed. But I'm okay, only shaking inside. And I started to search about the cancer in the sites of hospital, internet, and I saw that the difficult is not because the children are children and the parents doesn't understand, because the information is not accessible, clear, and optimistic. So I started to take picture of my procedures and send to the children, and the children start to send me your picture, your procedure, and we start to talking about cancer and the treatment. We meeting in the hospital room to say what things we can do to do a better communication to patients. So we start Beabá, NGO, to demystify cancer and inform in an objective, optimistic way for children, adolescents, and the parents. This presentation is not 3 minutes, it's 10 minutes. Sorry, I will put this part. This is our first product, a guide, who have the terms of the oncological environment, and some children who helped us to do this, some children who have received it, and a lot of hospitals start to asking about the material, but we have some problem because the type of protocol in hospital are different. And a lot of people around the world start to asking. We impact 15,000 people, and we use the content to do a game. We did a game, Alphabet Cancer, with the content of the guide. The game have a letter, it's one mini game. I have a video.
108,000 children are diagnosed with cancer every year around the world.
With a diagnosis comes an unfamiliar path full of challenges. It's time to learn the ABCs of cancer.
Imagine having to study cancer, to discover metastases in your body, to be submitted in the endless exams, memorizing which organs can undergo a biopsy.
To find out that after chemotherapy, the number of platelets can fall and bleeding may occur.
But if we eat properly, exercise regularly,
And take care of the personal hygiene, the immune system can recover a lot faster.
and just like ringing the bell calls a nurse, a touch on your mobile phone can find a glossary with everything you want to explore.
Imagine if all the information you need could be found in an accessible and upbeat language, and you could carry it in your pocket. Alphabet Cancer.
So a lot of children start to play and ask translated to our countries. So we have the same problem with the guides. We can't do a lot of materials. So we impacted 30. What didn't?
Monet,
It's not my
obviously my
presentation.
English is not good enough. I said it in Spanish. 3 minutes. This is beyond
Sorry.
3 minutes. You know, you're
Sorry.
setting that, you know,
Because this is not the presentation.
I know.
Sorry.
Okay, let's see. Guys,
No.
this was rehearsed. Let me try. No, okay, calm. Can I switch to Spanish? Would you follow me if I switch to Spanish
Yes.
for a minute?
Yes.
La cosa.
Well, the thing is that she had two presentations, a 10-minute one, which she pitched to the jury in private, so they'd have time to think. And then there was the 3-minute presentation, and there's been a bit of a mix-up. I knew there was going to be a bit of a mix-up. I told you from the start.
A little bit better. You've taken, you know, está dicho, vengo de Brasil y yo aquí me...
But we did give you a bit more time in view of that, but you went on and on and on. So I'm sorry. You're lovely. The jury has heard all about the project through your 10-minute pitch. Simone, so don't push it. Overrun. Off you go.
La primera. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Gracias. Una pequeña aclaración, fe de ratas. El presidente del jurado me dice que han sido 15.
And apparently it was a 15 minutes pitch they got for the jury. Not 10 minutes, sorry. And no questions now.
Not now. Está bien a darlo todo. Está bien a darlo todo. Di que sí, Simone, así va. Brasil nos...
All right, Brazil, being very bold there in that first presentation. I'm going back to Spanish now. Forget about this slight confusion. Let's move on to the second pitch. Salva, forget about overrunning your 3 minutes. I'm sure you're going to get the right presentation. So we've heard about Beabá from Simone. Thank you very much. And we're moving on to the second presenter. Because we're running late, so really we have to cut things short. And Antonia's going to kill me, and I won't get the job next year if I allow this to overrun anymore. Okay, so second pitch. Projects that improve the quality of life of people. In this case, people who suffer epilepsy. Of course, if you know anything about that disease, you'll know the fear that the parents and the patients experience not knowing when their next crisis is going to be. And, well, our next contender and their company are pioneering in this field at predicting when the next epilepsy crisis will occur. How do they do that? You'll wonder. Amazing. Science fiction. May sound impossible because you know the difference between science fiction and science is just what? Time. Exactly. So, not science fiction. They've managed it by developing a wearable which combines artificial intelligence with data recording through the ear. I'm sure you're amazed. I was amazed when I first heard about this, but you're going to be even more amazed when you hear from Salva directly.
Presenta MJ Neurosurveys. ¡Hey, Salva! Es que ya le he presentado varias veces.
Muchas gracias, Elena. Yo la verdad es que con la explicación.
Thank you, Elena. With her explanation, I could have actually stayed home. But to avoid any problems, I'm actually not going to run the presentation. I'm going to tell you a story. 6 years ago, a good friend of mine, David, asked me for a coffee and said, Salva, do you know my daughter Marina has epilepsy? I want to launch a project to improve her quality of life. And this Christmas, this is true, Marina was having dinner at my house and she suddenly had a crisis, fell on the ground and banged her head and scratched her eye. Nothing serious, but I remember the comment of my small son who said, oh my God, if she'd hit her head on the stairs, she could have been killed. And so imagine what it means to live with epilepsy, to live always in fear, not knowing when your next crisis is going to be and whether it might cause an accident that could kill you. What it means for the parents not to sleep at night thinking their child could have a crisis which might eventually mean sudden death, or what being depressed or anxious means because of epilepsy, because you've lost your job, have lost your friends, or don't want to go back to school because you had a crisis in school. And when you think about all of this, don't think just about the people involved. Think about their environment, the parents, their brothers and sisters and friends. And in the world, according to WHO, there's over 1% of the population with epilepsy. That's between 70 and 100 million people. Spain alone, 700,000 people. In MJN, for 6 years, we've been working to design a solution enabling us to face all these challenges. And so we've developed a wearable device. It's an earpiece. It's real. These had to be real projects, and I'm wearing it. So it's very real, that can record your brain activity. Now, if you combine that with artificial intelligence algorithms, which you can install in a mobile, you can know what's happening in the person's brain. And thanks to Cirrus, we can send an alert a minute before there's a crisis, and that way we avoid any accidents that could occur due to unforeseen crises. We are changing their lives of these people and their families. We are removing the fear from their lives with Cirrus. It has huge potential because we can help people with epilepsy, but also with schizophrenia, with Parkinson's, with Alzheimer's. Now you know what we do and why we do it. Let me explain our present. This is Susana, which is a participant in one of our clinical trials. This is Asir, our first Asir user in real life. We've managed to raise 1.5 million euros in the last months, and we're now about to get the EU label, which we need to go to market. So the dream's about to come true after 6 years, to get to the market and solve a lot of problems of a lot of people with epilepsy all over the world. And so that's what we do, and this is our project, socially committed project with the aim of improving everybody's quality of life. Well done, Salva, well done. Of course, we know that they're all great, but Salva has really improved since the first time I saw him. Well, actually, next year I'm going to present the awards in your stead. Well, it's not that easy. I have years of experience. Okay, then. So I'm going to switch back to English to present the third project of this first theme.
Experiment. Take your hands, both of them. Put your thumb in the middle. Close your hands. Okay, now without opening your hands or fingers or anything, with both hands, just try to get your phone from your bag, from your pocket. Where is your phone? Try to get it and check your WhatsApp. Right, you can't. Why? It's impossible. Well, you know now how people with atrophied hands, butterfly skin, lo que llamamos piel de cristal, burns or just arthrosis, or any person with problem in their hands, what they feel thousands of times a day when they're trying to brush their teeth, eat, write, or even make a phone call. Something that most of us, we do every day, many times, and we take for granted. Well, the next team has made possible what seems impossible. You know the drill. Everything that comes here is obviously the solution to the problem, right? And how do they do it? You may wonder. Well, wonder no more. Through a device which is extremely easy to use, practical, and affordable. They are giving these patients, their autonomy back. And what's most important, a positive impact in their lives. Let's please welcome Camille Vivallo and her project Oliver. Hey, Camille. Welcome.
Well, after this amazing introduction, I don't know what else I have to say. Well, but as you could see, it is very hard, very challenging and frustrating living without hands. This is Ariadna. She has butterfly skin, and she lives with this. But she's not the only one that has this problem, as she said. Many people share the same issue. Amputees, people with leprosy, arthrosis, and so many more. In the world, there are 216,000 of people with leprosy. 10% of the population has arthrosis. Every week, at least 150 people are amputees on minefields. And 10 million of people are burned in the world. This gives us a demand of 1.4 billion people with atrophied hands in the world. This is why we created Oliver, an easy-to-use, inexpensive solution that just with these two magnets and these metal plates, I can talk on my phone. I can eat, write, brush your teeth, doing this thing that was impossible for these people, but now they can be independent. How does it work? Oliver comes with 4 metal plates, 1 for the cell phone, 3 for whatever object the user wants to use. The magnets can hold up to 2.2 pounds or 1 kilogram, even holding up a glass full of water. And it's also with customized versions, so people can empower to show their hands and to dignify the acts of autonomy of the users. They can even choose the whatever character they want. A superhero, a special design, we can make it everything for you. Here you can see how Oliver is changing lives all over the world. Oliver is only $54, comes in 3 different sizes, and if you like to pay $39.99 per year, every time something happens to your Oliver, we'll give you a new one. Current solutions nowadays are very hard to control, expensive, and if not, they're just not scalable. This is why Oliver has caused such an impact, being a solution easy to implement and affordable. Thanks to our amazing partnership with the DEVRA Foundation, a foundation for people with EB, which is in 53 different countries, in only 6 months, we've been able to export it to 18 different countries. Our business model consists in B2B to social, to NGOs, where foundations receive money from donations for people, then they buy Olivers from us, and then we deliver it to the people who needs it. Then also to different foundations and hospitals, and right now, B2C, where you can get onto our website and buy our Oliver. We have raised $25K with different grants around the world, internationally and nationally, and built 600 Olivers to make our first production and sold 400 in only 6 months. We expect to sell 1,000 Olivers in the next quarter of the year, in the first semester, to give 1,000 Olivers to Africa and India, where it's really, really needed because they don't have any money and they live in the poorest conditions in the world. This is our team: Barbara Lopez, product designer in charge of the production, myself in charge of business development, marketing, and communication, and our ambassador, a remarkable doctor, dermatologist, who goes around the world talking about our product to different health specialists and making it known. Global.
I am coming.
Oh, I'm done, almost done. This is very important because this is a really important part of our team. Our seamstresses. Production is hands made by hands. These are 7 ladies from low-income neighborhoods that we want to include in our product, and we want to make an impact in every area of our product. So, as you see, nowadays, technology seems to be everything, but we forget about simple things, like Oliver.
Time's up.
Thank you.
No, perfect. You see what happened? You see? You created a monster. Now I can't stop anyone because they're going to say, you gave Simone more time. Well done.
More time too.
But you knew I was coming and you were saying, I'm going to say whatever I have to say here.
No, I was finishing.
No, that's okay. Well done. Camille Vivallo from Oliver, thank you. Bueno, estos eran los 3 proyectos.
So those were the 3 projects in the first theme, e-health. Let's now move on to the next 3 projects in the InsurTech, or insurance and innovation in insurance theme. And so our first speaker of the 3 we have in this theme.
How many of you, I'm going to ask you another question, no es retórica, por favor, cuando diga raise your hand, no mentáis. How many of you here have a tablet, use a tablet, reads? How many? Raise hands, almost everybody. I mean, how useful they are to read, to play, for research, for relax. Yeah, it's great. Okay, now let me change the subject. And I'm going to give you a terrifying fact. Are you ready? Did you know that according to the World Health Organization, there are 285 million blind or visually impaired people in the world? I'm going to repeat this. 285 million. Qué fuerte. And apparently it will double by 2030. Just in Europe, there are currently 30 million people with severe visual impairment. So now, let me ask you, how do they use the tablet? Don't they have the right? Is using a tablet for them out of the question? Why? Well, I'll bring you the world's first tactile tablet for people with sight loss. Creating, there she comes, don't look at her, she's blonde and she's wearing red. I mean, I can't compete. I bring you, apart from Christina, the world's first tactile tablet for people with sight loss, creating tactile text and graphics in real time thanks to smart liquid technology. And there's more, because thanks to this project, visually impaired people can access all the content of Insurance Culture offered by Mapfre. Let's hear directly from her. She's Cristina Stestanova, que me he pasado toda la noche ahí, dale que te pego, y nada. Cristina la llaman a todas fuera de su casa, que nos trae BlyTab. Welcome.
With BlyTab.
Buenas tardes a todos. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. More than privileged and excited to be here today and to present you BlyTab, the world's first tactile tablet for people with sight loss. And I know that I have a limited time, but for sure, I want to share with you how everything started. It was during my last year at the university, studying industrial engineering back in my home country in Bulgaria. And at that time, a blind colleague of mine just asked me to sign him for an online course. And I realized that there are so many technology out there, and they're not fully accessible for people with sight loss. And even more shocking was to find out that the devices currently on the market are extremely expensive. They cost $5,000 up to $8,000 just for one single line of Braille, which is around 5 words at a time. And the reason of this is the old, bulky, and limited piezoelectric technology currently used by all manufacturers on the market in the last 40 years. No innovation there. So we decided that something should happen. We started developing the idea from scratch because we realized that all of this old technology leads to social exclusion. More than 75% is the unemployment rate globally. And there are more than 285 million blind and visually impaired people worldwide. Here's another problem. Just 1% of all published books are available in Braille. So this is how we started developing the idea from scratch. With all of the advantages, disadvantages of Bulgaria, I moved. I left the country, I left my job, and I go to the heart of Europe, to Austria, and started developing everything from scratch. There, together with my team, we go through a lot of technologies. We proved, we tested, we failed, and in the end, we proved our core technology based on smart materials. Now let me show you how this works. Once there is pressure in the flow channel, the dot changes its state. Then we scaled the technology, and now we're the first to control thousands of dots under your fingers. After a lot of prototypes, some of them look like a bomb, a lot of issues in the airport. After that, we moved forward. Right now, we have the final pre-production device in my hand, which can represent everything, all of the internet access, all of the e-books, everything into Braille. So blind users not only have to listen to the content, but also read it in Braille in any language, Hebrew, Chinese, English, Spanish, French, everything in Braille for the first time. For the first time, all of the information, including Fundación Mafre activities, could be accessible for everyone as part of Seguros Pensiones para Todos. Let me show you what our stakeholders and users think about it. Just 30 seconds.
AlphaPoint's one of the largest employers of people who are blind in the United States. What are the jobs that people who are blind are going to be doing 10, 20, and 30 years from now? We need to be thinking like that. And BliTab's the kind of device that has that kind of thinking built in. We're thinking about efficiencies and access of different platforms and how to do it at a competitive speed. So there are people who are blind today that are software engineers, that are computer programmers, and this is the kind of device that can help folks stay competitive in those emerging fields.
BliTab could be used anywhere. I think that if you want to be using it to read a book, more power to you. If you want to play games, go right ahead. I think that it could be used in businesses, in work industries, in schools, at home.
Technology is crucial to my job. I simply could not work without it. And when you're blind, you're very limited by those things. Even with a Braille display, you can only look at 1 or 2 lines at a time. I use it for every facet of my work. And I think this could very much be a solution, not just for myself, but for all other blind people.
Thank you so much, Cristina. Thank you so much, Cristina. Cuando esta tarde
This afternoon, organizers were telling me, no, they've really got the pitch down perfectly. Of course, they meant that 15-minute pitch. But anyway, a 3-minute pitch is harder. They're trying to say the same amount, just faster. But anyway, it doesn't work that way because the videos don't run twice as fast. But Cristina did really well, so congratulations. Still in the same theme, and you don't have to raise your hand because I know the answer already. How many of us have home help? Domestic employees who are so essential for our work-life balance with children and with late hours at work and so on. Domestic help is so important. A friend of mine said, I'd actually rather be left by my husband than by my housekeeper. And I'm sure some of you might share that feeling. Easy to replace a husband, not so easy to replace a good housekeeper. Anyway, even though this might seem a joke, it is actually quite serious, but also sad that we have some of these employees at home and we would like them to be healthy and protected since they're so close to us and they look after our homes and our families. And for this reason, In a country like Mexico, where 2% of domestic employees have health benefits, they've come up with a platform to bring these products, insurance and banking products, to low-income people, domestic help, so that both they and their employers can be happier. And we have Miguel Dujal from Mexico City, who's going to tell us all about Comunidad 4.1. Welcome.
Bueno, pues muchas gracias a todos.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you and to tell you a little bit about what we're doing in Mexico and somewhere else in the world, possibly. This is Leo. She's a domestic helper. She has 2 children, and she earns $300, and she does not have any access to health insurance or any types of other insurances. So she won't be able to develop socially or economically speaking, because financial inclusion is one of the most powerful instruments to move out of poverty. So the problem is not so much that there are no financial products for her. She can't have access to them when she needs them. There are no proper channels. And this has an important impact on 30% of that family's income and is about 1% of the Mexican GDP. So if the problem is the distribution channel, well, why don't we build one? So this is what we did. We created a digital distribution channel where you have the very best financial institutions, Mafre, for instance, and others. And Elena, as you said, you know, the domestic helper and the employer can sort of communicate, and this is the way to have access to the financial system. With less than $5 a month, I mean, many of you have Netflix or Spotify, which is more expensive, so you could have health insurance, accident insurance for the domestic helper and her children. It takes a second for us to open an account, a bank account to her. So therefore, through this bank account, she can start saving and she can possibly get a loan for a home. And 70% of the domestic helpers don't really have that. And now, how do you do this? You come to our website, e-commerce website, and it takes less time than buying a book from Amazon, cheaper than Netflix, and you have financial inclusion in your family. You can protect your domestic helper, can be protected, and you can make sure that she gets the necessary coverage. So now they have an insurance. Over 3,000 children have medical care, and we've saved a lot of money in accidents and in health care. 83% of the domestic helpers are saving 5% of their income. They wouldn't have been able to do that before. If you pass this on to 2.5 million helpers, well, it would be the biggest pension fund in Mexico. What we do is we target our domestic helpers, and we try to do this by going per regions, and we want to move into the largest IF platform in Latin America, and through the domestic helpers and through technology, we can actually reach very many of them. Thank you.
Oh, muchas gracias, Miguel. Gracias.
Thank you, Miguel. You got a lot of fans in the audience. You've got the whole family here. Yes, there's the family. Long live Mexico. Viva Mexico. I lived in Mexico 120 years ago or so, and they like our accent, which I think is really boring, the Madrid accent. Talk to me, they said. Madrid is with a Z at the end. So, the last and third project of this section, and the speaker moves into English, and this is simply for you to be impressed by my English.
I'm sure you remember there were devastating floods in the eastern coast of Mallorca. I guess you all see it. Even Rafa Nadal went to help. The King and Queen of Spain have gone to Manacor today for a funeral of 12 people that died, and there was a considerable material damage. And do you know why these floods were so deadly? One of the reasons was the difficulty in forecasting the disaster. Something so silly. Last year's California flooding rose to $1.5 billion in cost, without mentioning, obviously, the loss of life. Well,
Good news, as usual. The next team, fed up with the same problem in Brazil, have designed a device that uses machine learning that can reduce losses caused by climate events, such as floods and landslides. And the best thing it is that it is accurate, connected, and affordable. Let's welcome directly from Brazil, Diogo Tolezano, who brings Pluvión. Hey, hello, Diogo. Bienvenido.
Gracias, Elena. Muchas gracias, Elena. Buenas tardes. And this is all of my Spanish. So I'm Diogo. I am one of the founders of Pluvión. And we found this company with this bold purpose, which is to reduce the costs generated by and the losses generated by these floods and landslides. And this is a problem that affects more than 500 million people all around the world every year. And especially talking about last year, we lost more than $300 billion from this kind of events. So when we looked at these numbers, we started to understand what's behind it. And the real thing is that there's not enough data around the world of weather data, so we cannot send the precise alert for the one who's in need. So with this huge gap of weather data, we have no option, if we want to reach our purpose, than developing our own solution. Especially when we're talking about emerging countries, as Brazil is, we have not enough data to work. So we started to develop the Pluvi, our low-cost and proprietary weather station, which is already connected to the Internet of Things network, which drops dramatically the communication costs. And the idea here is we can spread it all around the cities and all around the countryside everywhere. So with this big data, we can correct and evolve the forecasting models, the weather forecasting models, and with that information much more precise in our hands, we can send these early warnings straight to the population as well as companies. So we started to working with the solution within cities. So the idea here is to send these early warnings for free to the population, because we're going to monetize this network, selling this information for insurance companies, utilities, mobility, retail, and so on. And our potential impact, when you look to cities, it's something around 500 million people around the world. And we also developed a simpler way that the population can communicate, can know about the climate, which is a chatbot that we named São Pedro. Sent, well known to rule the weather in Brazil, so people can add him as a friend to know what are the risks where they are. And with São Pedro, we started to get the attention from the big guys. So we are already working with some companies within these industries, and we charge them a monthly fee for them to access our much more precise and real-time weather monitoring system. We have more than 120 stations in 4 states of Brazil, and if we're lucky enough to win this award, we're going to install 100 stations in 3 vulnerable areas in São Paulo to impact almost 2 million people. We had a lot of support to get here, from Google to Facebook, and recently we were the first startup in the world to be invited by the United Nations for their global Smart Cities platform, the United Smart Cities. En Pluvión, nosotros creemos que hablar sobre el clima.
In Pluvión, we believe that talking about the weather is something that can save lives.
Muito obrigada. Muito obrigada. Gracias, Diogo. Fantástico. Vamos a pasar al tercer vertical.
Great. This brings us to the third section, mobility and road safety. Let me talk about the same figure again. I talked about millions of people with visual visual problems. How many did I say? 285? Well, I didn't really think people were listening to me. 285 million people are visually impaired. And we're going to be getting some different figures. They're going to tell us that it's 253 million. It's not as if I didn't do my homework properly, but the WHO and others have perhaps used different sources. Anyway, let's move on to the millions of people who are visually impaired. And if we had trouble to find a way of using a tablet to carry out research on the internet. Just imagine going out in the street and moving around the cities. That is another huge challenge. So the purpose of this team and the next project is to remove those barriers from which people find themselves in every day, so that at the end of the day they can lead a normal and independent life. Well, I know how they do it, but I can tell you how they do it. And they do this with an app, intelligent guidance app. René Espinosa brings us Lazarillo. Welcome, René.
Gracias.
Thank you. Good afternoon. René Espinosa is my name. I'm the executive director of Lazarillo. Let us go somewhere. Let's go to the center of Madrid. And many of you probably have children, and just imagine you're going to buy a gift for your child. The shop, you've got the address, but how do you do this if you see this? Nothing. And the only way in which you can interact is through tact and through sound. How would you do this? Unfortunately, you'd need the help of someone. And that person would have to help you find the store, the bank, but we didn't want that. We believe in the right of human beings. 253 million people who are visually impaired, 979,000 Spaniards are visually impaired, and over 800,000 in Chile with the visual impairment. And one of them is part of our team. And we've done this in this way, with an app which makes it possible to give information as you move. And they can help you. If there's nobody next to you, you can get information about the streets that you're crossing and the shops that are by the side of the road. And you can do this with your headset and your mobile phone. This is Miguel, and he uses this every single day. It's a free of charge app. It works on any platform all over the world. And we have 15,000 users in Spain that have used Lazarillo. We have it in Spanish, English, German, Polish, and Indonesian. People from different parts of the world have actually translated this application. At the present, we have 29 countries with 9,000 users. But these are not just people that are downloading our app. People give us a lot of good information about how they use Lazarillo. We want to give the visually impaired independence. With Lazarillo, people have been able to walk around the world 27 times. So how many human guides or dogs would have had to help them? And now they can do this on their own. We've also been awarded by the Zero Project Foundation. That is a foundation that works in the area of improvement of people's lives through inclusion. Lazarillo can help you in the street, but what about entering a bank branch or a Mafre branch or office? Well, there I would need help. And that is where we said, look, this is not possible. So we created the next model. It's a software. And we talked to the companies. And what we want is that the person to be able to enter those offices independently. So we want to do this not only in the bank branches, but we also want to do it in the area of other services. For instance, people who don't know what they need to do. And this is where Lazarillo wants to change change the life of the visually impaired through intelligent solutions. Thank you.
Fantástico.
Thank you, René. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I think our social innovators are really, really going full speed ahead. Now, another question, rhetorical question. It is sort of late. Have you noticed how many pedestrian streets we have in our cities? Do you know that between 20 and 40% of the time for somebody to unload his loads, you know how much time he takes to park? Or the messengers to deliver packages. Right, I'm going to bring you the revolution in delivery and a device that is going to improve humanity. This is an electric vehicle which solves deliveries in cities. And it saves lives as well. That is the lost link between the motorcycle, the van, and the bicycle. Companies are going to be gaining more than 40%, and the delivery people are going to be working in a much simpler way. And here we have Jose Mari, who's going to talk about Scoobic. Hello. I didn't really need to say anything else because she's already said everything. So thanks, Mafre. Thanks to the Mafre Foundation for this opportunity. You're doing social innovation. We do social engineering. We focus on individuals, and we think that engineering should be at the very center of our dedication to human beings. We had a problem, a solution. You had to deliver goods in the city centers, more pollution, more traffic, e-commerce, and this has led to opportunity. What we buy and what we permanently buy on the internet needs to be brought home. So we need to create a new type of vehicle, agile, fast, and which had sufficient capacity, similar to a van, which could have 8-hour autonomy, which is cheap per kilometer, which has a volume of 1 kilo, and you put that into a jar, and this is Scoobic. And José María is going to tell us this.
El reto del presente es llevar lo que compramos por internet a nuestras casas.
Se trata de Scoobic, un vehículo eléctrico capaz de transportar hasta 700 kilos, ideado para hacer lo que se conoce como el transporte de mercancías de última milla.
Scoobic pretende ser amable con el ciudadano y ayudar al repartidor. Y por tanto viene a cubrir un eslabón perdido entre las motocicletas y las pequeñas furgonetas. Cabe por la puerta de nuestras casas, ¿no? Puede llegar, es más capilar que una furgoneta, puede llegar.
It can actually get right to the door of your home, and it can enter the pedestrian areas, and it has its own patterns, 3 of them. It's versatile, and you can also walk in the pedestrian areas, and it's much, much easier. The time is money. We have a set of interchangeable batteries. You don't need to stop and load your batteries or charge your batteries. It's a pretty good-looking vehicle. And these are tests. Look at the green box, which is the area where we have the goods. The goods don't shift. And here, this is 850 kilos. Those are sandbags. It has more capacity than a Berlingo or a van, and it takes up a lot less space. You know, vehicles need to be small. We keep thinking about electric vehicles, but they need to be smaller. We don't fit into the cities anymore. And it's very agile. You can see that we don't really want it to win any Formula One or MotoGP competitions, but Scoobic needed to change the urban logistics and let us get rid of the traffic jams and the pollution. Look at Madrid. Scoobic would clean our air because it absorbs the carbon particles, and we're going to be giving them to you at the end of a certain period of time, and to prove that you've cleaned the city. My dad died of a heart attack. It's one of the first causes, and 75% of these people could survive if they could get this little device next to where you've had your attack. So Scoobic's going to carry one of these, so we can scoop the fastest. The person who's suffering from a heart attack could have a device through which it signals the nearest Scoobic, and this Scoobic can save his life. Anyway, that's it. That's it. That's it.
Ah, ¿cómo te aprovechas, eh? ¿Cómo se aprovecha? Porque le conozco, se aprovecha. Su hijo es igual, un emprendedor, un crack de Sevilla, claro, más guapo, tu hijo.
Mucho más.
Okay, you look really good in the video. Obviously, you had a haircut that day. It was my son's idea. But anyway, it was really exciting. Thank you. Off you go, off you go. Okay, so great. Scooby with Jose Mari Gomez, another final project in this theme and in this year's awards. And I'm glad Jose Mari spoke about light vehicles and about how crowded cities are, because we're still going to talk about urban mobility, and which is of course a global problem, either because there's too many cars in the streets and traffic jams everywhere. It's very stressful, very polluting and expensive. Urban mobility has a tremendous social and environmental impact, and governments have not been able to find the right mobility solutions, and the problem is only getting worse. And in Brazil, the number of cars grew 140% in the last few years, while the population grew a lot less. And of course, the problem is not just in Brazil. The world's facing a tremendous problem of urban mobility, which makes lives harder for many, many people. And so something has to be done. And to tell us about what can be done, we have someone who has designed a solution that's helping to improve urban mobility in Brazil, having a tremendous social and environmental impact. And so we have with us our final contender, André Andrade, with Zumpy. Welcome, André.
Hola.
Hello. I'm going to try and speak Spanish, slightly mixed up with Portuguese. Because you know what urban mobility is like in Brazil or in other countries in Latin America, Asia. It's the same everywhere. Moving around is really a challenge. Buses are overcrowded, there's harassment, there's theft. So it's really stressful for everyone. And public transport in Brazil and many other countries, really bad quality. So a lot of people prefer to use their own cars for their daily journeys. And the number of cars on the roads grew because people are desperately looking for a better way to make their daily journeys. The population in the last 10 years grew only 12%, but the number of vehicles on the roads grew by almost 140%. And of course, that's completely unsustainable. And so we came up with Zumpy, which is a project that is helping to change things. My name is Andrea Andrade. I'm one of the founders of Zumpy, and I've been able to change the lives of thousands of people in Brazil. So far, actually 150,000 people. If you look at these numbers, 70% of private cars in Brazil are occupied only by the driver, and 80% of journeys in big cities are from home to work or from home to university and back. So most cars are going to the same places every day at the same times and have a lot of empty spaces. So our solution connects people who are on similar journeys so they can share the transport costs, generating savings for drivers and passengers. And the drives are shared in an innovative and scalable way. Passengers and drivers can inform Zumpy of what their journey is. They will look for up to 3 vehicles with empty seats. The passenger pays through the platform, and driver receives credits which they can spend only on insurance, taxes, petrol, and car service. We monetize it in 2 ways, charging 10% of the value of each journey and when our members use their credits. It's totally different from Uber and other applications, basically for 3 things. We are more concerned about safety, and you can share the car only with Facebook friends or with close groups, people from your company. Or women may choose to select only other women to share with. And also legally, the credits that are generated can only be used to buy fuel and pay for service and taxes. The driver does not receive cash. It's all about cost sharing. And that way, we promote sustainable transport and help reduce CO2 emissions by reducing the number of cars on the roads. We know the savings in CO2 emissions we achieve. We've already reduced emissions by 6,500 tons, which is equivalent to planting over 10,000 trees. And, well, I'll go on if nobody stops me. And so over 100,000 people have already used our platform. And in that way, we will reduce emissions by almost 10,000 tons. With the price, we would extend our membership. Thank you.
Gracias, André. Gracias, obrigada. Fantástico tu portoñol, ¿eh? Fantástico. Fantástico, un poco malo, ya me gustaría a mí. Fantástico. Bueno, me han perdido el respeto ya definitivamente los finalistas. Esto me han tomado por el pito el sereno y ya. Bien, estos han sido nuestros 9 proyectos finalistas. Suerte a todos. Todos sois ganadores, lo hemos dicho. Muchas gracias por el esfuerzo que os habéis hecho en prepararos estos speeches 3 minutos exactos. Tenemos el fallo del jurado, pero antes de daros el fallo os voy a hacer sufrir un poquito más por la emoción, ¿no? Ya lo ha dicho antes Antonio Huertas, pero os recuerdo que de los 27 semifinalistas, los 27 han recibido apoyo de un mentor y visibilidad de su proyecto en la región. Los 9 finalistas de hoy, como decía, son todos ganadores y por eso han recibido...
The 9 finalists today have received a mentorship program designed by the IE, thank you Santiago, and their projects have been publicized in social media and various publications. As I said at the beginning when I spoke about the world and that blue marble, they are all helping to improve the world we live in, so thank you very much. And they're all winners already and they do deserve a big round of applause. And now, as I was saying, the 9 finalists, 3 will be receiving a cash prize. And the panel, before coming down, as we told you, heard a 10-minute pitch and asked questions for 5 minutes and had time to think about it. And they've come here with 3 envelopes. And nobody knows, not even Antonio, who the winners are. Neither does the Secretary of State, who is our highest authority here. So this is really very secret and confidential, and I've tried to find out, but nobody would tell me anything. I asked the MAFRE team, but nobody knows it. Marilu or Mercedes, well, maybe Mercedes, but she's not saying anything. But anyway, we now have the names of the winners in an envelope, and we have 2 very special people here who are going to announce the winners. I'm going to ask them to come up here. Our Secretary of State for Social Services, Ana Lima, welcome. And Chairman of MAFRE, Antonio, the MAFRE Foundation, thank you. Ana, I've also asked Ana permission to address her more informally, and she said yes. She's a modern politician, so are you ready? Okay, so I'm going to ask for the envelopes to be brought up here with the jury's decision. 2 envelopes? 3 envelopes. Oh, 2 envelopes. That's 3 envelopes. Of course, here. Okay. Oh, they're all inside the same envelope. Okay. Okay, great. All right. So all 3 winners are here in this envelope. Okay, I'm getting really nervous here. Okay, so we're going to start. There is 1 envelope. Okay. So I'm going to open the envelope. It's actually not being glued down. Maybe because they want to reuse it. But we have the winners, and I know who they are, but I'm not saying. Okay, so let's start with the first of the 3 themes. And so the price for the e-health category, this first edition of the MAFRE Prizes for Social Innovation 2018 is for MJN Salva.
¡Bravo! ¡Felicidades! ¡Felicidades!
Congratulations, Salva. Congratulations. Let me not get in the shot. Congratulations. Congratulations. Well done. Fantastic. So exciting. Okay, great, great. So the next award. Are you ready for the next award? Let me open the envelope. Well, actually, same envelope. The award for the Innovation in Insurance or InsurTech category in this first edition of MAPFRE's Awards to Social Innovation 2018 is for I know who it is. Comunidad 4.1.
¡Bravo! ¡Fantástico! ¡Felicidades! ¡Felicidades, Miguel! Sí, Ana, Miguel, acercaros un poquito. Aquí, por aquí, ¿qué tal están? Ahí, perfecto. Felicidades, enhorabuena, Miguel Dujalt, comunidad.
Congratulations, Miguel.
Ha merecido la pena el viaje desde México.
I guess it was worth the trip from Mexico. Well done. Okay, now the third and final award. The prize for the Road Safety and Mobility category of this first edition of MAPFRE's Awards for Social Innovation 2018 is for, ready, Secretary of State? Ready, everybody? This prize is for Scoobic.
¡Felicidades, José Mari! Por pesado ya, hombre.
Congratulations. Well done.
¡Felicidades, José Mari! ¡Fantástico! Bueno, sí.
Well done. I just want to thank our Secretary of State for joining us and the chairman of the MAPFRE Foundation as they step down. Oh, Simone is crying. I felt like crying too. Are you crying with joy or sadness or we don't know? Well, it was exciting. It was a big family and they're all winners, but of course 30,000 euros always come in really handy. Okay, well, I now have the pleasure of introducing, to say a few words, somebody who's also very well loved and very important, our chairman of the IE University, Santiago Iñiguez. Santiago, go ahead.
No voy a tardar más.
Okay.
Secretaria de Estado.
Secretary of State, President of the MAPFRE Foundation, Antonio Huertas. First of all, I would like to congratulate Fundación MAPFRE for this organization of this event. It's been an incredible success with a very unexpected large number of participants, and I know this is going to be the new Social Innovation Award. So congratulations to all the finalists and to all the people who received an award and those who received courses so that you can present your products with more success. Allow me to say a few words in English and take account of the diversity of our finalists and awardees, and to Elena.
Very enjoyable evening. You did a wonderful job, but particularly we feel very proud of all the finalists coming from so many different quarters, and we very much feel identified with your commitment to social innovation. So thanks very much for your enthusiasm, for your commitment, and we wish you all the successes in the future. Y permítame
And since I'm an academician and since we always have some food for thought related to science, but don't worry because I'm not going to take up any time. I'm just going to be communicating this very rapidly. You know that sometimes you have a difference between applied science and theoretical science. But I remember a quotation of Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant said that there is only good research and bad research. Good research is the research that has applications in practice. Bad research is what cannot be put into practice. And that is the type of innovation that we do in IE University. And I would like to conclude by thanking the teams, Conchita Galdón, Rachida Justo, who was the chair of this afternoon's panel, and thank you to all the members of the panel, and Antonio Huertas and the MAPFRE Foundation for this very great and successful award, and I know that it will have a huge international impact. Thank you. Thank you, Santiago. I'm just being told that there's something very special that's going to happen. Mercedes, what is this? No. Okay. Okay, later. Gustavo? Later. Okay, later. I have this special thing I want to announce, but I can't do this. But I'd like two very special people. Santiago's mentioned them before. We're going to be received the other winners. The other six winners will be receiving a diploma as finalists. And the Director of Projects of the Social Innovation MAPFRE Foundation should please come up. And the IE University, Conchita Galdón, please.
Los finalistas que no han recibido.
So the finalists who didn't receive the award in money, they will always have a certificate. They will always have a diploma to show. So we're just going to call your names in alphabetical order. And anyway, we've already practiced all of this, so no problem. Let me just call your names, or I'll call them in the order. Are you ready? Simone, clean your tears, Simone. And have we got the diplomas? Yes.
Alternativamente una detrás de la otra. Muchas gracias. Ah, no, el primero Mercedes. Mercedes, sí. Mercedes le va a entregar su diploma.
So Mercedes is going to be giving the diploma to Simone Mozzilli for Beabab.
Enhorabuena, Simone.
Congratulations, Simone.
Qué grande. Todos son ganados. Voy a llorar yo y es que no puedo, que se me corre el rímel.
Right. Now the second diploma. Conchita is going to be handing over this diploma for Camille Vivallo from Oliver. Congratulations, congratulations. Very good. The next diploma is for Mercedes. Cristina Tsevanova. Lightab.
Felicidades.
Congratulations, congratulations, Cristina. Thank you. The next diploma
Your name. There you go. El siguiente diploma lo va a recoger.
The next diploma is for Mr. Toledano from Pluvión. Congratulations, Diego. Congratulations. And then the next diploma. So, for Renee Espinosa from Lazarillo.
Felicidades, René.
Congratulations, Renee. You're too far away from the apple. There.
Y por último, gracias.
And last but not least, Andrea Andrade Zumpi.
Enhorabuena, André. Felicidades. Parabéns, parabéns. Sí. Voy a pedir ahora a Conchita y a Mercedes que...
So, Conchita and Mercedes, I think you could now leave because I think now, Conchita and Mercedes, I know that you are part of this house. So I'm now going to ask the Secretary of State, Mrs. Anya Lima, to take the floor.
Adelante. Ay, Ana, te he puesto a poner el doña otra vez, es la costumbre.
Me pidió permiso para no llamarme doña y me ha llamado doña.
Well, she asked me if I could just be more informal with me, and I said yes. Well, good afternoon, President of the Fundación Mafre, Antonio Huertas, ladies and gentlemen. I come on behalf of the Ministry of Health, Consumption and Social Well-being, and the Minister asked me to represent the Ministry here this afternoon. This is a very special occasion to improve the world through the work that is done here. To improve and to help our society to progress, this is in the statutes of the Mafre Foundation. It is a challenge which is shared, and the government of Spain, through its political action, moves in the same direction. It's time for dialogue, for a finding of solutions, for exchanging ideas, knowing that every debate enriches both personally and collectively. Participation of civil society, which is represented here, is an ally in this objective, and that again is something that multiplies the advantages for citizens. Therefore, dialogue and the cooperation in search of a common good is something the Ministry of Health and Well-being strives for. We've already talked about the improvement of the quality of life, and that I think is pretty clear. That is an objective of our government, it's an objective of the ministry and of the Mafre Foundation. As I said, we are building a better society, but many challenges is what we're facing. And that is part of all of this. I'm talking about the integration of the more vulnerable, economically speaking, people with disabilities that are calling for the same rights or an improvement of their health as a mechanism towards equality. As you know, in 4 months, the government of Spain has taken important measures in this area, and I'm talking about the recovery of the right of everyone who lives in this country for health care, integrated health care, and plans that have been announced quite recently by the President, the law for integration and fight against violence, and to fight for the elimination and eradication of child poverty, because I think, as we all know, working together is working better. On behalf of the ministry that I represent, I'd like to speak about the 600 research projects which over the last 10 years have received the support of the Mafre Foundation. If research and health is moving in a difficult direction, the studies of today and to bet on these projects is to bet on the future. And it is this conviction of this government that needs to see that the National Health Service comes to many Spaniards who clearly recognized their capacity need to go to the benefit of the citizens so that their social and economic conditions do not create a condition. So we have a double objective, to have a public health system which is fair for the people and fair and interesting and attractive for the medical profession. We want to work about on cellular therapy, which is within the strategic plan for the personalized medicine within the national health system, which is being developed. This is a reference which allows me to highlight the role of the Mafre Foundation, which contributes in a project in the Hospital Puerta de Ripiera for cellular therapy for medullary lesion patients. So basically, these innovative therapies are a sign of hope in a fight against diseases which are difficult to cure. They're expensive, though, and therefore the National Health System needs to plan and analyze the inclusion of these therapies in the possible inclusion of these therapies in the health centers so that they can be used efficiently, safely, and accessible. Technological innovation, which, as we can see from today's projects and so many others that have not actually reached the final, well, these are part of the present, not of the future. Progress in this area have made it possible to improve the lives of people with disabilities, and we need to move in this direction. Last month, we organized the Reina Letizia Prize for Technologies towards Accessibility to strengthen the equality of opportunity for people with disabilities and technological inclusion. And I know that professional talent and public management is necessary for social progress. So this afternoon, I would like to express a word of gratitude to all those professionals who work and make an effort to move in these projects. And I would also like to thank the Mafre Foundation for the work that they do. Thank you very much.
Gracias a vosotros. Ya termino.
You may...
Sí, nada, ya termino.
Actually, I'm almost finished. The public authorities need to be standing side by side with society. So it's not just a question of words. Politics are there for social transformation, and therefore we need to give resources to priorities. We need to move from the proposal to reality. We talked about this again today a lot. Let me point out that we need to take decisions to do this, and this is the responsibility of a government. And that is what we need to do. After such a detailed presentation of the 9 projects, there's very little else I can say. These prizes are very international, and that, I think, is important. It is solidarity that is most global, solidarity with those that need it most. I think the Fundación Mafre is a good example of this. Thank you.
Ana.
Ahora sí.
Espera, aquí conmigo. Claro, es que es el único guión.
Well, thank you so much. This is part of the
This is part that I didn't know about. So thank you, Ana Lima, for your presentation. I would like to ask you to stay up here for a family photograph. Antonio Huertas and the 3 winners. Could you please come up to the front? Thank you. And maybe a little bit of music.
Vamos a ver que yo organizo aquí la secretaria de Estado, Antonio Huertas, ganadores, primera a la derecha, sí. Ay, perdona, que claro, Ignacio Baeza, así que, ay, Ignacio de los nervios. Sí, me vas a quitar el trabajo, perdón. Nos vamos un poquito para acá, ¿no? Sí, centro aquí, así, Miguel. Foto oficial, un momento, foto oficial. Momento. La primera edición, esto es memorable, forever, forever.
I mean, after all, this is the first presentation of this award. So this is a very important moment. This is the official picture of the 3 people who've received, of the 3 companies that have received an award. Okay, there. With your award on your knee, you are young and you can do this.
Enhorabuena, muchas gracias.
Congratulations. Because now I would like all of you, all the finalists, please to come up and the panel. Julio Domingo, Luis Aramendi.
Venga, esto ya sí que va a ser un reto, ¿eh? Esto ya, a ver, venga, los jóvenes abajo. Los más jóvenes, porque aquí jóvenes, Ignacio Baeza. Perdona, ¿eh? Con la emoción no te he nombrado. Nada. Venga, a ver. Jurado, los ganadores, los premiados, los finalistas. Un poco de achuchation en inglés. Venga, a ver. Una achuchation, a ver, estamos bien. Un momento. ¿Estamos? A ver, Cristina, ya ponte abajo, ¿no? Cristina, bueno, está aquí. Ah, claro, venga, va. No he dicho nada. ¿Están todos? Segunda foto. No. Aguanta. Hold it. Wait, sorry. Shall we move Cristina? Despite what Antonio says, shall we move her down so all the finalists are here? What do you think? See? She's okay. Okay, we have another picture. Hold the pose, no os mováis. Voy a pedir ahora, y a ver dónde os metéis, Mercedes Sanz, Conchita Galdón, Antonio Guzmán, Jesús Monclús, Paula Torres y Gustavo Fernández Mazarrabrazo, porque no hay quien pronuncie su apellido. Venga, Gustavo, ¿dónde estás? Buscaros la vida como podáis. Achuchation ahí a mogollón. ¿Qué tal, fotógrafos? ¿Están bien colocados? ¿Movemos a alguien? ¿Sí? ¿Cambiamos al presidente con el vicepresidente? ¿Movemos a...? Venga, sí. Ah, esa. A ver, ¿alguien más? ¿Cambiamos a Cristina ahora? Cristina, vete con... Go with him. Cristina, but here. Now we're gonna do... Venga, va. Ya están. Una con la presentadora, la extraoficial. Digo la foto, no la presentadora. Perdón, que tengo que dar gracias además a la gente que nos está siguiendo por streaming. Que estáis ahí miles y millones de personas. No me puedo agachar. Me voy a poner aquí con la rubia, que ya le tengo celos. Yo ahí con Santiago, aquí. Fingers, thumbs up everyone. Prueba superada. Nos vemos en la segunda edición de los premios MAPFRE a la innovación social 2019.
So we'll see you 2019 in the second award ceremony.